7 o'clock on the button. Hello. Welcome to Check It Out Tuesday on Tamara's Paper Trail. Give me a hidey ho. Let me know who I'm talking to tonight. As usual, the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes have been spent on lighting. Yeah. And wasn't pretty. That's all I'm going to say about that. I've got the lighting pretty good for these cards that I'm going to show you, but when it comes to showing you the project for tonight, it's a whole other ball of wax. So we'll be fighting. We'll be fighting a lot. Hi, Mary. We'll be fighting with the lighting. That's a rhyme. Hi, Hope. Tracy, hidey-ho. Mary, thank you for the suggestion. I decided to go with your peekaboo card. Yeah. I tried something else earlier today that was such an epic fail. It's in the garbage, so hard. I don't even know if I can find it. I tried to do, oh my gosh, it was called, I'm dumpster diving now. No, I don't even want to know. It was such a nightmare. It was a magic, oh, there it is. Look at that. It didn't want to be, it won't die. It was a changing picture card. And in theory, it was supposed to be really cool, where it's the goat. Oh no, it's all ripped now. It was like the goat, and then you pull something, and then it's a different goat. And I mean, there was a lot of cutting. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. And I thought, what am I doing? I spent like 2 hours on it, and I don't know. It was ridiculous. There's Carmen. Hello, Donna. Watching The Voice. That's okay. I understand. And why is this fan so loud? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. All right. There's Rachel. Hello. We may have a few guests in tonight who are part of my friend Shauna. Shauna does a live on Tuesday nights as well, but she's a little under the weather. So she told her people to come and check me out. Over here. Hi, Amy. Nancy. Hello. Cool. I'm lagging a bit tonight. Even my hair looks tired today. Hey, what's going on? I was messing around with it last night. Apparently, I'm really old because I have a side part, according to my daughter. So I was messing around trying to do a center part, and oh my god, it was not a good look. Anyway, so it really flattened things out, and yeah, I could use a little bit of brightening up today. Not been sleeping. I'm still not sleeping. Anyway, there's Sheila. Hi, haven't seen you in a while. Excellent. Okay, so I'm gonna get going. Let's flip you around. I'm going to show you what I was working on for a couple hours this morning that I enjoyed. But then I thought, well, it would just be boring. I don't know. I wasn't convinced it was going to be, I wasn't feeling it. Okay. It was okay. Hi, Shelly. Bernice. How was the golf game? You're old too, Sheila. Do you have a side part? Because I guess that's the sign. Not only do we have Facebook, but we also have a side part. So, I don't know. I'm doomed. All right, here is what I was playing around with today. I wanted to do some embossing, and there's so many different looks you can get to embossing that I thought I'd have a good old play. So I did, and I thought, well, I'll show them 4 different ways to emboss. And so I'm going to show you what the cards look like, but I'm not actually going to show you how to do it. How's that for a tease? I mean, if you really love it, I guess I could next week. I just wasn't feeling it today. So this is my first card, and it's embossed. Now, what stamp set did I use? I don't know. Oh Lord. I cleaned it up, if you can believe it. I cleaned it up. It was for Forever and Always, and I used these flowers. There was a progression to this. Where's that other piece of paper? Oh, see, I cleaned up. Here we go. All right. You may remember last year, I did a card that looked very similar to this, and it was one that I cased off Linda Dalkey. Is she Australia or the UK? I can't remember. I know, Cal, right? Sheila. Oh, thank you, Brenda. Thank you. Anyway, squirrel moment. So in the card I did last year that was totally cased from Linda, we stamped in gold embossing powder on crumb cake, and then we took some pink and we took some white craft ink and we colored it, and it looked very similar to this. It was a different flower. Was it magnolia? It doesn't matter. Looked like this. So I thought, well, this was really pretty. Let's play with this. Hi, Jen. So I did, and this was my first shot at it. So I embossed with clear embossing powder. Hi, Laura. I was going to call you today. I haven't talked to you in forever. I'll talk to you Thursday, maybe. I'm busy tomorrow. I have training to plan for tomorrow night's training session. I digress. Clear embossing powder on black. And I don't know. I like it. It's got a real wow factor, but it's not as fancy as I normally like. Now, how fancy does it have to be if it's a thinking of you card? I'm not sure. But that was my first kick, so this is kind of my least favorite. It's okay. Yes, I did, Mary. I still have a couple too. So this was another one. Now, I think the lighting is pretty good on this. So this, again, I embossed on black cardstock with the white embossing powder. And I realized that my Versamark was very dry because it actually tore my paper when I stamped it in Versamark and lifted it off. It tore my paper. So I embossed this with white. Oh, do you like that, Sheila? I embossed it in white. And then I took my fancy spongy things. So I did the centers with this brush, and I just dipped it in the mango, and I colored right on top of the white embossing powder. And then I wanted a little bit more control, and so I grabbed my finger daubers, and I did this in some, I did a little bit of pear pizzazz, but then I think I went over it with some Granny Apple Green, just to get a bit of color on there. This, I didn't realize was a punch we have and a coordinating thingamadooey. What set was that from? I put everything away. What's the heck? What the actual heck? That was, it's a heart. No, I don't know. Here it is. Look at that. This one. Heart to heart. So it has this outline. So I embossed it, and then I took my sponge with the color on it, and I just colored on top of it. You can also use these things. Oh, my brain's not working. Your blends. You can also color on top of the white with that. Now, what I have found, how did you do the layered sentiment? Yes. Okay, Amy, did I answer that yet? So this was, I stamped it, like embossed it with the white, and then I just colored this and punched it out with the punch that coordinates. Right, so you can color on top of the white embossing powder with your blends. I found in the past, though, that if you hold on to those cards for a year or two, the color does fade. Like, it almost washes right out. So it looks great, you know, for a month or two, but after that, the color just kind of goes away. So that was my second card. Oh, thank you, Brenda. Okay, they're getting better, I think. Oh, what? Oh, sheesh. Stop. Okay, I just hit the button that made my lamp go brighter. Okay, so this one, let's see if I got all my comments going on. Thank you, Mary. This one I did with the gold embossing powder. So you'll notice, like, it's all the same, pretty much all the same design. This one I did it in gold. And I struggled a little bit. I tried the gold foil behind, but it made this look copper. So, and the gold foil is very expensive. So I just went with crumb cake. Another trick you can do is actually, if you put so saffron behind it, if it's just a little bit, if it's less than a quarter of a width of it, it looks kind of gold. So that's a little trick. This one I used with the crumb cake, and I think it's not too bad. Let me zoom in on that, so you can see that a little bit better. And yeah, the lighting is going to be all wonky because of the bright on the shine. So that one, same layout, same card. I obviously have been using different embellishments. These ones I use the faceted gold. This one I use some of our adhesive back sequins. This one I used our black matte dots, or matte black, whatever they're called. Clear embossing powder. You do, eh, Amy? Thank you. I like the look of it. And I did actually, I'll show you, here's the butterfly one. Okay, so this is my favorite. And this is not going to do it justice, this lighting. Let's see if I can get any better here. Let me brighten that up a bit. So this one, look at that. So I embossed it with clear embossing powder on the black cardstock. And then I colored with my pencil crayon. So this is called Black Magic technique. And this one is my favorite of the cards. It was fun to do, and it really kind of pops. Hi, Debbie. The peekaboo card, yes. So that's what I was playing with. And then I went, oh, I don't like these cards. So I don't know. I mean, I guess I do. I like this one. I also played around here, this one. Let's see if we can get that focused again. Thank you, Shelly. Focus. There we go. And try to get the lighting back. Okay. Oh, thanks, Debbie. Okay, I guess, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting. But this one is a wow card. And the Butterfly bundle. So there's the new one. It's for sale now. I guess I should promote that. And I've been working on cards to do a class for it. Hasn't happened yet, but this is all one stamp. It's all one stamp. So you just get your little stamparatus out, and Bob's your uncle. So that one's a lot of fun. But then I didn't feel like embossing anymore, so we're not doing that. Thank you, Amy. All right, I might have to teach. Well, we'll see where we go tonight. Okay, let's now. I apologize in advance for the lighting because I don't know why it's so glary. So now we're going to push some buttons and see if I can make it any better or worse. This is what I do for 10 or 15 minutes before you guys log in. I don't know. It's not, like, I need it bright, but okay. We'll go like this so you can see it. I don't know what's going on with Mr. Bunny Rabbit, but he's very glary. So for this guy, it says, just want to say. Where did you get the black now? That's not black, Glenda. That is clear embossing powder. True story. Use the crystal clear. Is it crystal clear? Whatever it's called. It's the clear embossing powder stamped in Versamark on your black. Now, if you don't have, that's all I'll say about that. No, I don't want to confuse you. And hello, Glenda. Thank you for popping in. Right. Squirrel. See, Glenda, I jump all over the board. You have to keep up here because I change gears like a crazy woman. All right. It doesn't show up well on the video. I know, Brenda. I know it doesn't. All right, back to this guy. So he's our little peekaboo, and he's Mr. Bunny. Just want to say, and then when you open it up, may the new life of spring bring you joy. So this one I finished about 10 minutes ago. So I don't know if I'm finished decorating it or not. Hi, Sue. Like that. Okay, so do you want to learn how to make this? Now, I'm open to suggestions here. If y'all want to work on embossing powder, I can switch gears. It's up to you. I can show you, why don't I show you the measurements of this and see where we're at. It's already 10 after 7. And let me see if I can, maybe if I use a different color. What do you think? If I use a different color, do you really want to see a total gong show? Like, you know how I love to make my gong shows. I was thinking of using this set. I know, right, Shelly? I wasn't going to do both. Well, I thought you might say that, Donna. We'll see how our time goes, because I also had a request to do a faux torn technique, and that one would be quick. That one I could do pretty quick. But maybe I'll show you the mechanism anyway, and then if I choose to actually do the stamping, we'll do that. Maybe I should do a yellow card with the light. No, baby. I could stick with purple, but then it doesn't go. Let's see, a lion. Maybe I should just do the Darren rabbit. Okay, let's see if this is going to show up too badly. See when I go. That's all right. It's still purple. All right, peekaboo. All right. All right. I promised a peekaboo. I'll do the peekaboo. So, I meant to pull out my old one from 100 years ago. One of the very first cards I made was a peekaboo card, and I believe it was from Dawn Griffith in the US. She did videos before YouTube was the thing and before videos were really a thing. She was one of the pioneers in stamping for the videos. So I followed her and I learned how to do a peekaboo card from her. I needed a refresher just on the dimensions. But they really are simple once you understand the mechanism of how it works. So I'm going to start and try to keep my head straight here. There's a number of pieces you need. And if you go to YouTube, you can pull up, Dawn's got videos on peekaboo cards, and we'll see, because hers might be easier to follow than mine. But we'll see how I get on here. I'm going to cut a couple of pieces in white first, and that is going to be for the mechanism and the back. And you can see that, yes, I actually dropped my Memento lid, and I had Memento ink all over, all over my fingers. So this is a bit of a mess. But anyway, Shelly says we should challenge you to do all 3 techniques on 1 card. Okay. All right. Now you're just talking crazy, girl. All right. So I'm going to cut the pieces for the mechanism and the back. And referring to my notes, the inside piece is going to be 4 1/4 by 5 3/4. And on this 5 3/4 edge, I'm going to score at 5 1/2. So it's just a little 1/2 inch score line on this long edge. Okay, so just a little thin. Is this focused? I know Donna will tell me if it's not. I think it's focused. Maybe not. Let's see. Focus. There we go. All right, so that's my one piece. Now the next piece is 3 by 4 1/4. So that's not big enough. This one is 4 1/4 by 3. Now when I say that, hang on, I'm thinking. Okay, when I say 3 by 4 1/4, that's what Dawn said. But I found when I put my card together, the 2 times I tried it, it was a little, I didn't line it up exactly perfect, and I can't deal with things having to be exactly exact, or it gets screwed up. So she says 3 by 4 1/4. I say 3 by 4 1/4, less 2 ticks. Hi, Carolyn. I just wanted a little bit smaller because I had trouble lining it up. All right, so on our 3-inch side, with the 3 inches along the top, again, I'm going to score at 2 3/4, leaving just a 1/2 inch little edge. Now, let's stick with our purple because we know what we're doing here, I think, she said confidently. All right, so for this piece, I need 4 1/4. This is going to be our inside piece, 4 1/4 by 8 1/2. I know somebody's going to ask me if I'm going to write out these measurements. Chances are slim, you guys. You know me better than that. You just have to watch the video again. And I will be posting it to YouTube at some point. And then I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. Okay, and then I need one more piece in purple. This is going to be the front of the card, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Okay, so I've got my pieces. I'm ready to go. So I'll have 4 pieces of paper. Let's review. If you want to write these, oh, there's going to be an avalanche. Wait for it. I've learned to keep my water bottles on the floor because 3 times this week I've knocked them over either on my computer, on my phone, or on my papers. So I'm just a bit of a gong show. All right, so I'm going to take this piece 4 1/4 by 8 1/2. I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm going to take my bone folder, give it a good crisp fold there. This is the front of our card. And these 2 little pieces that I have these little scores on somewhere. Where's my other one? Here's. I'm going to fold those over on a little 1/2 inch. I'm going to score them too. And this is where I hope I do everything right. I can't really remember the orders. That's a little concerning. All right. Let me think before I say too much. So this piece. So here's this piece. And here's this piece. All right. So I'm going to know that. All right. So now I want to put some tear and tape on these little 1/2 inch chunks. So get my tear and tape out. I know I'm going to get this wrong. I'm going to confuse everybody, including myself. Okay, so I'm going to put some tear and tape on the 1/2 inch strip. Now the tear and tape is a little bit wider than a 1/2 inch. That's okay. We'll fix that. Okay. Now I just want to make sure that I tape it on the right piece. So this is going to go here. So on this piece that's folded, we want the big piece, she said, somewhat confidently. And on the top, okay, yes. So we're going to go like that. Just trying to get my act together. All right. So card is folded. Open it. And here is your score line and your tear and tape. So we're going to remove the tear and tape. Am I doing this yet? Maybe I don't do this yet. Yeah, I do. Okay. Where's my pokey tool? Pokey tool. Hang on. There he is. Okay. I really should have done this more than once. This is the first time I've made one of these in, 15 years. Perhaps I should have done it more. All right. So I'm taking off the tear and tape. Now, as discussed, it's a little bit wider than this 1/2 inch score line. So I'm just folding it back on itself. And I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. Excuse me. Is your scored edge a 1/2 inch or is it a 1/4 inch? Oh, that's a good question. You're right. It's a 1/4 inch. It's a 1/4 inch. Was that right? Yes, it's a 1/4 inch. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you. All right. So I am going to put this 1/4 inch onto my purple folded in half piece. Thank you for catching that. I watch my videos back and I often say the wrong thing. Last night I said the wrong thing a few times when I was telling people where to cut. I had the wrong thank you, Linda. Oh, hi, Linda. I had the wrong measurement down, but thanks. All right. So now this is going to fold like that. Okay. So the back, which is white, is attached. Okay. Oh no, Nikki. No. That was very, very quiet. My family, they give me a very hard time because I sneeze so loud it scares them and or wakes them up. Like it's crazy. I get a lot of razzing for how loudly I sneeze. All right, so now this piece is going to go on our front, which is 5 and what is it? 5. Now I'm all flustered. 5.5 by 4 1/4. That's right. So same thing. I'm going to take off the tape off my 1/4 inch. And I'm going to line it up with the edge of that. Now, this one is the one that I made purposely a little bit smaller. So it's not 4 1/4. It was 4 1/4 less 2 ticks, just so that it doesn't have to be so perfect. All right, so that's like that. Okay, so we've got our two pieces that now look like this. Okay, this is our front, and this is our inside. Now, we're going to pop, we want to put a hole here. So in the front of our card, we have a hole. So to do that, I'm going to flip it over so I can see where I'm going. All right, this is where the hole's going to be. I'm going to grab my 2-inch circle punch, and I want it to be here. Okay, so your white is on the left-hand side, and I want the hole to be here. So I'm just going to flip it over and do it this way, so I can see where I'm going. I'm going to center the punch between, well, you can see I'm going to center the punch. I don't have to tell you what between. You can figure that out. I'm going to center the punch like that. Okay. Now, we need a bunch of holes and a whole bunch of things. So we need to get our trusty pencil. And I need to figure out what's going to happen next. Okay. I want to show you how it's going to go together, how it's supposed to. So here's the top view, which is perfect. This is the one I just punched the hole in. That's the purple. Okay. That goes like that. And this piece is a Z. It's going to go like that. This piece with the hole is going to be taped here. All right. And this is how it's going to be put together ultimately. So we need to have a hole right here. So I'm going to take my pencil. I'm going to draw a hole. Or a circle. I'm not going to draw a hole. I'm going to draw a circle. Is the lighting okay, you guys? You're with me so far, right? All right. So I'm going to try to get that centered. Okay. Pardon me. Now my nose is running. All right. Now I think this is the point where I am going to glue these together. I think. Might be a little premature. I'm trying to remember the order. I guess we could draw another hole. All right, so this is going to be taped like this. All right, this is our top piece, this piece. We're going to need another hole in this other purple piece. So I'm going to draw another circle. I suspect that I'm probably losing you all at this point, but we need a bunch of holes. Because again, you look at our card. So this was the top piece. And then this is the hole that I just punched, and I need another one. Or this is the one I just punched. Now I need this third one. Don't try to understand it, I guess, at this point. It'll all make sense, I think. I hope. Okay. So when that closes, it's going to go like that. It's going to go like that. It's going to go like that. So this is where our little bunny's going to live. Okay. So I'm pretty sure it is safe to go ahead and tape this down now. And then I can stamp through the holes. So I'm going to do that. If it's wrong, good Lord, help me. I'm going to use my stamp and seal. And I'm going to put that on this part. And then I'm going to line them up and pray that I've cut them somewhat the same size, because earlier today I hadn't, and I had to unstick it all. All right, looking good so far, I think, like that. All right. All right, so now it's really kind of coming together, where now you can hopefully understand what's going to happen here. All right, so when I open the card, again, here's the top view. This little piece, when it's closed, the little piece is way over here. But then when you open it, see what's happening? The white piece is moving. So here, there's nothing. When you open it, this piece scooches over. So this is where the little mystery new image is going to be. All right. So that's the gist of it. That's your mechanism right there. Easy, right? Okay, now it comes to the stamping. So I want my little bunny to be in this hole. So I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to very lightly, because I'm going to have to erase this after, I'm going to draw a circle there. Okay. And then when it's open, I want to have an image stamped there. So if you followed what I just did, closed, draw a circle, open, draw a circle. So now I've got a circle there and a circle there. So the only trick that, the only thing you really have to keep your head about you is to make sure that you're stamping the right orientation on the right circle. So I've got my little bunny, and you could just stamp through the hole, but his ears are a little bit bigger than the hole. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put my finger here and know, okay, this is where I want my bunny. This is the orientation. Just so I don't get confused, because Lord knows I get confused easily. So I'm going to ink up Mr. Bunny, or Miss Bunny, I don't know. And I'm going to try not to get my head in the center here. Okay, and actually I'm going to move it down. Sorry, oh, I'm sorry, Brenda. I know what I mean. I just don't explain it very well. All right, so I'm going to move this down just so I can see. My pencil mark is very, very light, so I'm going to try to stamp him in this hole. Okay, so there he is in the hole. All right. I think once you have your pieces cut, Brenda, zoom in a bit. Okay. Zoom in. Why? Why do you want me to zoom in, Donna? I'm going to go like this. Okay, and now I'm going to focus. Okay. I don't know where I'm getting all these black bits, but my hands are very dirty. Okay, so there's Mr. Bunny. There's my circle. Okay. Like I say, if you have your pieces cut, once you try it, it gets easier. Once you've done one, you understand. So here's the bunny when the card is closed. Then when we open the card, the new picture is going to scooch over. Okay, so this is where I need to stamp the next image right here. And that one, I went with the one that fits is May the New Life of Spring Bring You Joy. Where did I put that one, I wonder? There it is. And I've got paper sitting in the ink. Of course I do. So he's going to get, I'm going to scooch him over to the left of my circle so that I have room for the flower, which is also in the same set. Stamp him there. Now, would have been good if the words were straight. They are not. Now, while I'm here and my card is still open, I'm going to erase my pencil marks. Try not to smudge any ink that may still be wet. The best thing to do on this, Brenda, is to watch the video and do it at the same time. That's what I had to do with Dawn's. You know, she said, okay, cut your paper this size and then score here. So then I would do that and stop the video and do it. So that's what I'd recommend is do it along with me. And then once you have one done, it'll totally make sense. I hesitate to, I don't want to smudge him. He's still wet. Okay. And then likewise, I'm going to erase this pencil mark. It certainly isn't a hard card. Like I say, once you wrap your head around the mechanism of how it all works. Okay. So there we go. Closed Mr. Bunny. And again, I think it helps if you understand how this looks. So here's our front with the little piece taped on the back, hole and a hole. So when it's closed, the white piece is hiding, and all you see is Mr. Bunny. Okay. Got it? And then when you open it, watch what happens to this white piece. It's moving. It's sliding. And there it is through the hole, which is totally crooked, and that irritates me. Yeah. Yes, I know, Brenda. And she might regret doing that. Anyway. So there it is, like that. Now, everything is erased a little bit so that, you know, the recipient knows what's going on. This is a little flopping around, right? So I actually want to put a little bit of tear and tape here so that this glues to this. And I'm going to do that if I can find my tear and tape. Ah! I don't like Shauna being under the weather. I don't like when anybody's under the weather. Yeah, nobody's going anywhere, so I don't know how people can be catching anything. Because I know Shauna hasn't been going out. Alright, so I'll put it here. It's too long and it's too hard to tear with my fingers. All right. Now this piece you might have to trim a little bit if it's too long. You don't want it to run into your mechanism. Come on. There we go. All right. So I am going to close that. So now when the person gets it, it's not flopping all over the place. It's secure. There's really only one thing to do, is open it and close it. Open it and close it. Okay. Do you need to see me do the rest? Like to decorate it and color it? I don't think so. I cut a piece of designer paper that was 5 1/4 by 4 out of the out of this stuff. Hydrangea. What is this called? The Hydrangea Hill paper. And I cut a circle out of it. So I just traced the circle and punched it out. I used this from the the art gallery, just want to say. And I used these from the hydrangea bundle. I colored the bunny with Granny Apple Green and my purple posy, which is retiring soon, so get it while you can if you like it. Gray blends, my blend, light smoky slate blend. The basket comes in the set, and I was surprised that the color picked up as well as it did. I just a little bit of shading under here for the basket. And I went in with crumb cake. What did I use here? I used some So Saffron, light So Saffron, purple posy, pool party, and flirty flamingo. So that's it. Like I say, if I had done this anytime before 6:30 tonight, I might have spent more time decorating it. But there you go. A peekaboo. It's not so hard. Should I go through the dimensions one more time for you? It is only 7:37. Okay, so that's far away again. How many of these cards do I need? Maybe I'll try. I'm going to do one. I'm going to do another one. Or I'll show you the pieces to cut again, and I'll go faster this time. Because I do kind of want to do a baby card. So I'm going to use yellows and whites. So, the measurements again, for the Whisper White inside, 4 1/4 by 5 3/4. Score it 5 1/2. Which leaves 1/4 of an inch fold. Okay, the other Whisper White piece you need is 4 1/4 by 3, but I'm taking off 2 ticks off the 4 1/4 inch end, just so the mechanism doesn't have to be quite so perfectly matched. And so on the 3 inch end, you're going to score it at 2 3/4. Even 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so there's our 2 pieces of white. I'm going to come in with some So Saffron, and it's going to be 4 1/4 by 8 1/2. You don't have to score this piece. You can just fold it in half, but you can score it at 4 1/4. Which is the halfway mark. I'm using my stylus because I still haven't found my scoring thing. I haven't looked for it, quite honestly. And then we need the front piece is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Okay, so we're going faster this time. We're just going to fold it, score it. Okay, so there's those 2 pieces. We're going to get these 2. We're going to fold them on the score lines. So this is now my 3rd one, so I should be super lickety-split at it, right? Okay. So we're going to put tear and tape on these edges. You could use white glue as well. Okay, tear off any extra. Okay. So I'm going to take off the tops of my tearing tape. And fold over any excess back onto itself because it's a little bit wider than the 1/4 inch. Same thing on this one. Fold it back on itself. Okay, so the long piece you want on the long piece. All right, so if it was folded this way, open it and put this fold right along this edge. That's one. And then your front, you're going to center that because I made it a little bit shorter. Center it like that. Okay, now we're going to do our hole. This is our front. We want our hole, so turn your card over. Grab your punch. Center it. Punch it. Line it up on this. So this is the way you want it to look. The white piece is the back. Here is where you're going to be gluing your front on. So you want to line this up here. Draw a circle. Punch it. Close it. Draw a circle. Punch it. You are ready to assemble. This is the front. So you've got your 3 layers with your circles. The front is going to go on here. So you're going to tape it down. The circles aren't perfectly lined up, but that's okay. Like that. This is your mechanism. Okay, now you just do the stamping. This is how it's going to go. Does that make more sense? You're going to stamp image 1 here, so we're going to need a circle so we know where to stamp. And then when it's open, draw another circle. And that's where you're going to stamp. And where did I put my stamp set? This is what I'll be stamping in the hole. Is one of the, well, when it's closed, I think I want it to be an animal. And then when I open it, it'll say it's a boy or it's a girl. Does that make sense? I think it does. What should I do? A giraffe. The giraffe is a little bit, actually no. So when it's closed, I'm going to do the giraffe. Okay, now you're making me do it. I'm just doing it. I'm all excited. I haven't used this one yet, the stamp set, so I'm excited to use it. And I don't know where my ink is. Okay, ink. Here it is, way over here. You don't really need to see this part, do you? Elephant? Donna! An elephant? But I wanted the giraffe. Do the giraffe. I should move on. So what was the other thing we wanted to show tonight? Did you want to see do you want to see embossing? Do you want to see, I haven't done a faux tear. I could do a little mini something or other on that. Okay, I'm going to put the lid back on this before I end up putting my, where did the lid go? This is where I get all dirty because I think there's ink all over the lid on the memento. So I'm just going to try to rub my... yeah, of course Lynn wants the elephant. Elephant lover. All right, so when it's closed, I want to see the animal. So I'm going to put my finger here just so I remember that. This is where I want to stamp my giraffe. Or elephant. There you go, Glenda. And the first peekaboo card I ever did was indeed a baby card. A baby peekaboo card. So now I need to make sure that I'm going to stamp on the right spot with the it's a girl or it's a boy, which I still seem to have some black on there. So is it going to be a girl or a boy? My girlfriend's daughter just had a baby boy. So I think it's a boy. That's what we're going to do. It's a boy. And then for that, I think I need more blocks. Hang on. Just to get the gist of it, I'm going to do some stars. If there's room, I probably... It's going to be outside the circle, but that's okay. I'm purposely going to get this one outside the circle, I think. Ooh, that is heavy. Heavy black. Something like that. All right, so you get the idea, and then we will move on. At this point, before you put tape here and close it, you have to erase this circle. Ask me how I know. Don't ask me. I think you know how I know. You erase it before you glue everything together. Okay, I might be smudging him. This is why I wear black. Was he always using my shirt for something? Okay, so you get the idea. Erase. Oh, totally smudged it. Son of a beehive. All right, well, anyway. There is our card. Mr. Giraffe. Boys like elephants, do they? Okay. And it's a boy. And now I cannot use this because it's all smudgy. I would have to redo this back panel. But that's your peekaboo card for tonight. All right. Oh, Lord. Avalanche. Okay. Now what am I going to do? Butterfly embossed. Okay, which butterfly embossed do you want to see? This one? I guess, because that's the only butterfly embossed one. Holy crackers, Tamara. Okay. Let's get rid of this peekaboo card. You guys are getting your money's worth tonight, I tell ya. All right. I actually cleaned up everything. So I have to find it all again. And at the time I did think, oh, I should not clean this up just in case. Anyway, that'll teach me for cleaning up. Yeah. I need to see, I don't have anything prepped for this. So now I gotta find paper. I gotta find all kinds of stuff. I will show you how to make the front, and then that's all. Because, you know, it's $7.49. So this piece of black, I did 3 3/4 by 5. But I know I started larger than that. 3 3/4 by 5. I trimmed it down. It started with 4 by 5 1/4 because I was lazy. And I didn't take out my stamparatus. I simply took out my stamp. There's always more than one way to pluck a chicken, as I say now, rather than there's always more than one way to skin a cat, because we don't want to think about skinning cats. I am going to take my embossing buddy, which we don't seem to sell anymore, which I don't understand why, but anyway. That just takes the oils off the paper from your fingers and so on and so forth. Gets rid of that kind of stuff. So I've got my new Butterfly Bouquet, Butterfly Brilliance stamp. I'm going to grab a juicy Versamark. If it's not juicy, you're hooped because it will tear your paper. So I simply grabbed this and inked up this bad boy. It might be a better idea to use your Stamparatus, but I never do things the easy way. Now, I know where I went wrong on the first one, so I'll try to rectify that. But anyway, then what I did, again, a sane person would probably do this. Maybe I'll do this. What I did on mine was I went like this. And then I'm surprised when I don't get a totally full, Debbie. I'm surprised when I don't have a totally clear image. So let's do it this way and hope we can get it straight. I can see through this. I'm going to go like, no, I can't. I'm going to do it the wrong way. Go like this and put your paper on top of your butterflies. I'm now going to grab a piece of scrap paper so that I can rub and not get Versamark all over my fingers. I'm going to use my bone folder and I'm just going to rub. Where I really need to take care to rub is on the edges. I found on my first crack on this butterfly dude that I didn't get a lot of the embossing powder on the edge of the butterfly, and that's because I hadn't pushed very hard. So just make sure you've kind of pushed everywhere. Oh, that might have been wrong, but anyway, lift them up. Okay. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Oh, hi, Pamela. I know. Sorry, Pamela. All right, now I have to find my clear embossing powder. So what do I use? Yes, crystal clear. And if you are smarter than I am, you'll use a bigger container than I do. I use this little dinky guy, and I end up with embossing powder all over my desk. But anyway. So now you take your card. Actually, here's another way you can do it. Put down some scrap paper. Pour your embossing powder on it. You want to get that embossing powder everywhere you can. I usually get it all over my desk. Shocking, I know. So it goes on white, but it's going to melt clear. And actually, I made, when I was doing these cards, oh, see, look at that, it's everywhere. When I made these cards, I went to make my second one, and my embossing, my heat tool didn't work anymore. I don't know what happened. Luckily, I had the foresight to buy a new one last year. I thought, if this thing ever dies in the middle of a class, I need a backup. All right, so before I go any further, I am going to try to clean up the powder that is now all over my paper. I'm going to put the lid on. Ask me why that's important. Now, I have one of our watercolor brushes that I'm just going to go in and gently remove any little stray powders that are not where you want them to be. It's not such a big deal when you're working with crystal clear as, say, white. Like, you wouldn't want white embossing powder to be anywhere but on the butterflies. The clear, it's clear, but it will be shiny. So you want to remove any stray little bits that you can find. All right, so that's our pretty butterflies. I'm going to come in with my heat tool. Now, how's this for a blast from the past? Literally, this is my old one from years ago, the old black one. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to heat set it over here. This is a powerful one. This one seems a lot more powerful than our new one. Halfway done. Because I could show you this part. Ah! Hold on to it. The butterflies are flying away. It's just so therapeutic to watch this stuff melt. It's mesmerizing. All right, that's burning my finger. You could use your tweezers. Again, what a smart person would do is use their tweezers. And I'm just going to go in and give it another little blast in a few spots, especially along the edges. All right, now this in and of itself is a beautiful card. You could stop right there and you could just mount that, and it's a beautiful card. Yeah, that's this one, Amy. It's got the one setting. So you could stop right there, but we're not going to. We're going to get out our watercolor pencils. Now, ladies, when was the last time you opened your watercolor pencils? We have so many awesome coloring tools these days. When was the last time you grabbed your pencils? It was forever for me. So I was thrilled to do this. So what colors did I use on this? I don't think I used white. Maybe I did. I don't know. White. I used some sort of yellow. I used blue. I used, this one was my favorite. And I think I used, I used Flirty Flamingo. And I did a red. I think that's it. 6. So now, okay, I've got all these little flecks of embossing powder here. So now you just color. Now you could scribble right on top of the embossing stuff, the clear embossing, but it really does dull it. So if you've got the time, just take a bit of time and you're just going to color, press really hard in between the embossed lines. The harder you press, the more it's going to pop. So that's the yellow. Isn't it pretty? And you can do them all the same color, obviously. This one, I love this color. This is the Coastal Cabana. So I'm going to do a little bit differently because I want to use this color. It's pretty. So you get the idea. How easy is that? Like I say, a smart person would probably set it up on their Stamparatus. I usually don't have that much room on my desk. Shocking, I know. I still haven't cleaned up from last night or last Tuesday. So I've got buckets all over my floor. I'm supposed to have my swaps in the mail tomorrow. Haven't even designed them yet. I have training tomorrow night. Haven't done that yet. It's okay. It always comes together. Somehow. It'll be fine. I went to Costco today, so that's how confident I am that'll get everything done. So I took the time to go to Costco. So, what time is it? 7:59. You get the idea. Look at how that pops. Let's focus. I can't focus on that, but it's so pretty. Let's see the finished product again. The magic of television. Maybe I'll zoom in on it. Maybe I won't. Yeah, it's one that you really have to see in person. Let's get it brighter here. Really pretty. And for the label, okay, let's back out on the color. For the label, I mounted this on. Oh, it'll be fine, Shelley. I have the gist of it in my head. I just have to put it down on paper. I know where I want to go. I just have to. It'll take me an hour, maybe an hour. So what I did for this label, grabbed my scrap I grabbed this guy, stamped him in black. Seriously, why did I clean all these? Oh, see, look, this is what happens. You can't even see that. So there's black everywhere now. Stamp that. Then the Thinking of You is from the Good Morning Magnolia set, because it was on my desk yesterday. But you could also do a thanks. But the Thinking of You is nice. It fits perfectly. I have a that. That. Pull it on. Did you say that it was called Black Magic? I sure did, Tracy. Black Magic. Then you grab your punch. Punch it out. It's a great technique. For any of my demonstrator friends, it's a great product included class. You do a class with this technique and you include the price of one of the packages of the watercolor pencils. You got yourself a class. So that's just going to go on there. And it was mounted on, this is So Saffron, mounted on a black card base. There you go. It is 8:02. You got 2 for the price of 1. I'd love for you guys to try Peekaboo Pop Card and post it. Post it on Tamara's Paper Trail. Thank you, Mary, for the idea. Donna, thank you for your idea as well. The card, it's a neat fold, but it's a little, it's too fancy for me. Anything that's, it was just too fancy. I liked it. I didn't love it. It's not a fold that I would do. But thank you for the idea, and maybe I will do a faux tear technique next week, because that's a super quick and easy one, and it packs a real punch on that. So thanks for popping in, you guys. 8:02. I'm gonna try to put a few things away, and then I'm gonna go hang out with my daughter. Everybody who was in last night will know I am going to have next Thursday, I'm going to have a gel nail party. So I've set up a Facebook group. I'll send out invites when I've got the page all set up, and anyway, that'll tell you all about the nails. I've got my girl Raylene is going to do a bunch of posts about the products and so on and so forth. So that'll be next Thursday. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you, I guess, Monday for Mystery Card Monday. And the girls who are in training, I will see you tomorrow afternoon, depending on where you live. All right. Thanks, you guys. Have a great night.